Selling your system, not just sessions. How fitness coaches package programming for other trainers to buy. Your spreadsheet of periodized workouts might be worth more to other coaches than to your clients. Every coach who has run a training business for more than a year has built something more valuable than any single client program: a system. The periodization spreadsheet that auto-adjusts volume by week. The intake questionnaire that flags red flag injuries before session 1. The exercise substitution chart for clients with bad knees. The onboarding email sequence that turns a free consult into a signed contract. Most coaches treat these as private scaffolding, internal tools nobody else sees. But there's a second customer sitting right next to your client roster who would happily pay for that scaffolding: other trainers. Newer coaches who don't want to reinvent periodization math from scratch. Gym owners standardizing programming across a staff of 10. Online coaches who are great at selling but terrible at building spreadsheets. You already built the thing. The only new work is packaging it and putting it in front of the right buyer. And that's a B2B revenue stream almost nobody in fitness talks about out loud. The market you're already sitting on. Think about who's actually struggling in the fitness coaching space right now. It's not usually the exercises. It's the operations. A trainer who just left a commercial gym to go independent knows how to coach a squat, but has no idea how to structure a 12-week hypertrophy block. Price a consult, or write client-facing documentation that doesn't look amateur. A gym owner with 6 trainers on staff is watching program quality vary wildly from coach to coach, because there's no shared standard. A former athlete turned online coach has 40,000 Instagram followers and zero idea how periodization actually works under the hood. None of these people are your competition for client dollars. They're a completely separate buyer with a completely separate problem. And that problem is exactly the one your internal systems already solve. Selling to them isn't cannibalizing your client business. It's opening a second, uncorrelated revenue line on top of it. 4 formats, 4 different businesses. Package my system isn't one product decision. It's 4 different ones, and they scale very differently. Picking the wrong one for your stage is the most common mistake here. Coaches either underprice a system that took years to build, or overbuild a certification when a $47 template would have proven demand just as well. Most coaches should start at the top of that table, not the bottom. A template pack is the fastest way to find out whether other trainers actually want what you've built. And it takes an afternoon to assemble from files you already have sitting in a folder. If it sells, you've validated demand cheaply before investing weeks into a full course. What to actually put in the box? The instinct is to hand over your program as is, but a program built for your client isn't useful to another trainer's client. What sells is the reusable machinery, not a single instance of it. That distinction matters more than anything else in this article. A blank periodization template with formulas already built in, auto-calculating working weights, deload weeks, volume progression, your exercise substitution matrix, the logic you use to swap movements for injuries, equipment limits or mobility issues, client intake and assessment forms, with the red flag screening questions you've refined over years of trial and error, a pricing and package structuring guide showing how you price one-on-one, group, and hybrid coaching, onboarding email or message templates that turn a consult into a signed client, a short how to use this walkthrough, video or written, explaining the logic behind the system, not just the fields. The tell don't just give rule. A spreadsheet without explanation is a mystery box. The thing that actually commands a real price is you explaining why the template is built the way it is. The reasoning is the IP, not just the cells. Pricing it like a professional tool, not a fan download. Trainer-to-trainer products get chronically underpriced because coaches instinctively price them like they'd price a client-facing ebook. But the buyer here is a professional using your system to run their own paying business. The math is completely different. If a $500 core strength template saves a new coach 15 hours of building their own version and helps them onboard clients faster, that's an easy call for someone whose time is worth $50, $100 an hour. Price against the hours saved and the credibility borrowed, not against what a consumer ebook should cost. This is also where a tiered structure earns its keep. A template pack at one price, the same pack plus a private Q&A call at a meaningfully higher one, and a full license system tier for gyms buying it once for their whole staff. Setting it up without building a second business. You don't need a separate website, a separate brand, or a separate anything to test this. If you already have a storefront for client-facing offers, the trainer-facing pack is just another product listed next to it. A live example store shows how one creator runs several very different offer types from a single link without any of them feeling out of place. The mechanics are identical to anything else you'd sell. Upload the files, set the price, and store. Fan handles the instant, automatic delivery. Buyers get a secure download link on screen and by email the second they pay, so there's no manual file sending for every trainer who buys the pack. If you decide to build the license system or coach the coach tier later, it slots into the same storefront as a higher priced product without touching your existing client offers. The other advantage of running it through your existing store, discount codes and email tools that already exist for your client business work exactly the same way here. Announce the pack to your list with a broadcast email, run a launch week discount code to get early reviews, and check the built-in inbox for the inevitable questions from trainers who want to know if it works for online-only coaching versus in-person. None of that requires new software. It's the same toolkit, pointed at a new buyer. Where this actually goes wrong. The most common failure isn't pricing or delivery, it's building the perfect course before confirming anyone wants it. Coaches spend 6 weeks recording 40 video modules on their complete coaching methodology and sell 3 copies because they skipped the cheap validation step. The fix is sequencing. Sell the $49 template pack first. Watch what buyers ask for in support messages, and let those questions tell you what the $400 version should actually contain. The second failure is undocumented IP. Handing over a spreadsheet with zero explanation, which reads as low effort no matter how good the formulas are underneath. The third is treating it as a one-time launch instead of an ongoing line. The trainers who buy your pack this year are training new trainers of their own next year, and a light annual update or add-on module keeps that audience active instead of one and done. The exercises were never the hard part for most new coaches. The business of coaching was, sell that part. FAQ, selling programming systems to other trainers. The bottom line, coaches spend years building the invisible half of their business, the systems, screens, and templates that make the visible half, actual coaching, run smoothly. That invisible half has its own market, and it's one most fitness coaches never think to sell into because they assume their tools are just personal infrastructure. They're not. They're a product for a buyer who's easier to reach, easier to serve at scale, and often willing to pay more per sale than most client-facing offers ever will. If you've never opened your store, fan for anything beyond client coaching, this is a low-risk way to find out what a second revenue line feels like. And if you want to see how other coaches have structured this kind of stack, the blog has more guides on building an offer ladder beyond one-on-one work. When in doubt about setup, contact support and get the first product listed this week, not next quarter. Key takeaways. Your internal coaching tools, periodization templates, client intake forms, program design frameworks are sellable products to other trainers, not just private infrastructure. Coaches selling to coaches is a different market than coaches selling to clients. Fewer, higher value buyers, less competition, and a natural fit for higher price points. The 4 sellable formats are the template, the license system, the certification style course, and the done-for-you white label package. Each has a different price ceiling and workload. A trainer-facing offer diversifies income so a slow client month doesn't sink the whole business, and it scales without adding more one-on-one hours. You don't need a second business. A second product line, listed on the same storefront, is enough to start testing demand this week. Start your creator store, free at store.fan.